This was an amazing feat, an amazing thing that happened a couple of years ago, 2015, and the History Channel put together a program called Alone. And, pardon me, you had to be dropped on an island, Vancouver Island, and survive as long as you could. And who was the last man standing? Dave McIntyre from Grand Rapids, from Kentwood, and is in the studio. Dave, good morning.
Good morning.
Great to see you. I've been watching you in videos, so it's great to see you in person.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here this morning.
When you got back, it was probably great for you to see humans again.
It was nice to come back to Grand Rapids after that time.
After all of that. Take us back. Let's start from the beginning. Here's this program. It's called Alone. You are a survival instructor, wilderness survival instructor.
Jungle survival instructor.
Jungle.
Yes.
All right. So you're thinking, I can do this, or was your family goading you on, saying, "Come on, Dad"?
Actually, I was here working in Grand Rapids. I had been a missionary in Brazil for 15 years, and came home from that, and I was actually inspecting foreclosed homes here in West Michigan.
Wow.
And lost that job. They closed down, so I was unemployed at the time, and the show got in touch with me and said, "Hey, you look like a great candidate for our show. Could you apply?"
How'd they find out about you?
From my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. So you do survival stuff on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, my survival channel, my channel, YouTube channel, the Colhane channel, is dedicated to wilderness survival, mainly in Brazil, but now I'm branching out into other areas as well.
Fantastic. So what'd you think then? Okay.
Well, I looked at it and I thought, you know what, I'm unemployed right now. Why not apply for this thing? And 3,500 people applied for season 2.
Really?
And after going through the whole process, they invited 20 of us to boot camp in New York, and out of that 20, 10 were
got
selected
picked.
for the show.
Yeah, if you could survive boot camp, you could survive maybe.
They wanted to see us firsthand and put us through our paces out in the woods.
Wow! And there was a pot of gold dangling in front of you there.
$500,000 top prize, yes, and that's the only prize. It's a winner take all.
Oh, no kidding.
There's no second place.
Okay, now it wasn't like Survivor where you're all dropped off together.
No,
you individualized. Did you just? Was anybody else on the Vancouver Island? And
the north end of Vancouver Island is Quatsino First Nations reservation land, most of it, and they had allowed us to do the show there. But we were dropped off individually, and totally separated with no contact with the outside world. And
you couldn't hook up. I mean, with the other people on the island.
No, there was no contact allowed with anyone really.
And then it was just see how long you can last. I mean, did you have something to say? If you had, obviously you were the last man standing, so you won the $500,000. And you have a lot of friends now, I'm sure.
Yeah. I had a lot of friends before.
Okay, all right. They're closer now. But the other people had to have said, okay, that's enough. But how did you signal them that was enough?
They were very concerned with our health. It's a very dangerous show to participate in.
Yeah.
Inherently, solo wilderness survival, you're out there by yourself. You have no immediate help available. We did have a GPS locator on us at all times, and that we could use also to send limited texts to the production crew. In my case, they were about 45 minutes away by boat. And
so if you were really in dire circumstances, you could
If we were in dire circumstances, we could have pulled the yellow brick transmitter and hit the red button, which called out the rescue, or we had a satellite phone as well. But we weren't allowed to just make calls on that or call and chat with production. We had very strict rules on when we could call them.
Okay.
Basically injury or camera failure. We could call them.
Dave McIntyre, who's from West Michigan and Kentwood, and wilderness survival instructor and former missionary in Brazil, the season 2 winner of the History Channel's Alone. So you're on the island, and I watched your videos, and did you get to choose what you took with you? They
gave us a list of about 40 items, and we were allowed to choose 10 items from that list.
Okay.
And I substituted 1 item of gear for 5 pounds of emergency rations. In my case, was pemmican.
Yeah, you said it tasted like what, dog food?
It is very, very much. It's basically pulverized dried meat that's been soaked with rendered fat.
Okay, boy.
So yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Honey, could I have another helping of?
Yeah. But when your body's in ketosis and you're eating your own muscle mass, that's 5 pounds of me I got to keep.
The startling thing that I noticed, there were 2 videos that you sent me. The beginning video, and you looked as you do now, healthy, hearty, hale. And then the last video, you were a little worse for wear.
I was looking, the old man in the sea kind
ragged.
of thing. Well, 66 days, I started out at 195 pounds, and I dropped off in the first 3 weeks. I lost 25 pounds. And
you wouldn't recommend that diet?
No, I would not recommend. It's basically fasting. But I got down to 160 for 2 of the weigh-ins, and then at my last weigh-in, I was actually gaining weight again. So,
okay, were you out? I mean, catching fish, and you had to survive on
living off the land.
Living off the land.
Totally. Other than that, I actually came home with 2.2 1/6 pounds of that pemmican. I still had it at the end, yeah. And basically, it was going into an environment you've never set foot in before, and then learning how to pattern the wildlife and where the fish are and things like that. And basically, everything I ate came out of the sea.
Did you have any weapon type thing? If you had wild animals that were coming after you?
Had not really a weapon. I had a bushcraft knife and an axe, but
okay, yeah.
They did give us a bear spray. I mean, Vancouver Island has the highest concentration of black bears and cougars.
Oh, that's
on the
lovely.
planet.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a salmon run, and the bears were congregating around the salmon runs at that time, so I didn't have a freshwater stream flowing out of my bay. So,
and you had shelter, and
I had a tarp for shelter, which
you knew how to build a thingy, whatever, a structure to hold the tarp up.
Yeah, the tarp was my main shelter, and then I modified that with hemlock boughs and a bush bed, 18-inch high bed across the back with a foot-thick hemlock mattress. And
I know how to survive because I call it a thingy.
A thingy, yes, very technical term there.
I think that's in your survival guide, isn't it?
Yes, thingy.
A thingy?
Yes,
yeah.
The catch-all for...
Okay. Did you have your own Wilson?
The camera.
Tom Hanks movie, the camera was your Wilson?
It was like talking to this 3-legged alien every day, because I filmed like probably 4.5 hours. I swapped the SD card every day, and it held 4.5 hours of film. So
okay.
You end up I would gab to that camera.
Rambling because it was your friend. I mean, you had to talk to something.
Yeah, it wasn't communication. I call it munication. You know, because communication needs 2 people. So I would communicate to the camera every day.
Okay, I wouldn't tell that in mixed company, but you could. You could do that. Did you find yourself hallucinating or losing touch with reality as the days wore on?
No, it wasn't. I lost all sense of the passage of time. I never knew what day it was. When the production crew would come out, once a week approximately to pick up our footage and drop off new batteries and things and do a quick medical check, and they always had to tell me what day it was because I'd lose track immediately. It's like Groundhog Day. You're repeating the same day over and over. Actually, today, 36 degrees and raining here in Grand Rapids. This is exactly the weather we were confronted with most of the time on Vancouver Island.
Man.
So it was just today, again and again and again. But then you get good at it. You get good at living that day over and over.
Did you get to the point? I mean, now 66 days is. Was it 66 was the max you could go, or since you were the last man standing, they rescued you then?
Yeah, the number 9 man, Larry Roberts, tapped out on day 64.
Okay.
And it took them the rest of that time to get my daughter out there.
So I know. Then your daughter surprised you.
Yeah.
Walking through the woods, and you turned and you saw her. And that was really stunning. That was a great moment.
That was, yes, it's burned in my memory forever.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Larry had lasted longer,
I would have had to stay longer.
You would have stayed longer.
I was prepared.
Were you prepared to stay longer? And you were still sound of mind?
That last 2 weeks, I had been eating really well. I had discovered how to get up on the northwest side of my cove around some cliffs at low tide. And that opened up about 400 yards of extra foraging area for me, which was loaded with crabs and fish. And I was eating, the last 2 weeks I was out there, I was eating really well. That's why I started gaining weight again.
And you had fire. You had the thingy to start fires.
The ferro rod, yes, for making sparks.
Yeah, I saw you do that, whatever you call that thing. You rub it together and you get...
The sparky thingy.
The sparky thingy,
that's what we call it.
It's an amazing story. Dave McIntyre, Alone was the TV show. Now, they've already done... Season 3 was completed.
Season 3 was done in Patagonia, and Season 4 is in post-production. It's coming up soon.
Is this something you would ever repeat again?
Absolutely.
Would you really?
Oh, yeah. It's a... You get out there...
If $500,000 was in front of you.
Well, I'm not going to say even without it. Because, they might... I'd love to do it again. It's a different thing when you go to the wilderness with food, that it doesn't engage your instincts. It doesn't engage that Homo sapiens 1.0 programming, that primal self. But when you have to depend upon those instincts to feed yourself, and it really is, that or starvation, it really does change you psychologically, and it's a very good feeling to let that guy off the leash.
Interesting. Fascinating.
Yeah, that's almost like a drug.
But you'd been training for this, basically, without realizing it for a long time.
Sure, I've been doing wilderness survival since I was 15.
Really?
And taught it professionally in Brazil for a number of years.
So this was like, 66 days, nothing.
No, I wouldn't say nothing. No, it was a very enjoyable experience, very hard. experience.
Yeah, I bet.
On
I
me,
bet.
especially
and
at 51 years old.
To keep your wits about you and to keep your, your good nature, your mindset, so that you're in a good mood.
Yes, that is very dependent on how much food you eat. If you're starving, all you will think about is food. And then as soon as you get food, all of a sudden you start thinking about all the emotional needs that you're not able to fulfill, and you have no way to fulfill them out there.
At the point of rescue, then, was there ever a moment where you thought, wait a minute, maybe I'd like to stay longer? Or
come on, they offered me a ride out on a helicopter. I was taking it. There was no. Once
you hadn't gone to the other side, so to speak.
No. At that point, I was down to 160 some odd pounds.
Yeah.
And hadn't had a decent shower in 2 months.
Yeah,
or a change of clothes in 2 months. Yeah,
Can you like jump in the water and wash off or something? Or
sure, I did a lot of that, especially when it was warmer in the beginning. But towards the end, it was today. Imagine stripping down outside today and getting clean.
Not going to happen.
You have to get warm again.
Not going to happen. Dave McIntyre from Grand Rapids. What are you doing now?
Right now, I'm writing, speaking, and just traveling around telling the story.
Well, the neat part is that Dave's going to be at Founders Brewery this Sunday with 2 talks.
Yes.
At 5 and 7 o'clock.
Yes.
This is great. And in the tap house there?
Upstairs in the Century Room. Now, that is space limited, so RSVP at graceexplorations.com.
Graceexplorations.com.
Yes.
Is the website. Graceexplorations.com. And just log on there and then RSVP that you're coming. Is there a charge?
No, the event is free.
Yeah, that's cool. And you'll be talking about it and answering questions and any video, part of your video?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
We'll have some intro videos for people who haven't seen the show, but basically I'll be talking about the emotional impact of it and the spiritual impact of it as well. It was a 40-day fast for me, and the Lord taught me an awful lot of things out there.
I know you have a deep religious background, and that got you through. That carried you through a lot.
It's almost a cliche. People say, I don't know how I got through that without my faith, but it's a cliche because it's so common that when people are stressed and they default to their faith, which I certainly did on the island.
Wow. And how did it change you?
How did it change me? It gave me a greater appreciation for how easy modern life is, and also for the value of the simple things like just a conversation over a meal with friends. That was the thing I longed for more than anything out there, was just to sit down with a bunch of friends and just talk about what was happening in my life, these experiences, and have a great meal. And it's such a common thing, we take it for granted. Just the presence of other people and having somebody there who understands what you're going through, or you can talk to, and we'll be talking about some of that on Sunday night.
Great. Sunday night at Founders Brewery and the upper level, and that is 5, and then you'll be talking again at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
And they're free, but you just need to RSVP because it is limited seating. So that website again is
GraceExplorations.com.
GraceExplorations.com. Dave McIntyre. Hey, congratulations. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Have you spent all the money yet?
No.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I'm about to spend a big chunk with the U.S. government here. But,
I'll bet.
Yeah.
I bet. It's probably
They're going to do something wise and beneficial with that, I'm sure.
Oh, neat. That's really cool. Congratulations, Dave. And thank you so much for coming in and talking to us.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me out.